Greetings in the name of Yahuwah and his son Yahusha Mashiach. My name is Malak Shalomo. Today is the 26th of December 2023. Right now it's 11:44 p.m. Right now we're in the ETH, so I'm gonna do a little trade setup and analysis for the upcoming day, which is gonna be the 27th. That's gonna be a Wednesday. So let's start off here with Trader Map Pro. 1 second. All right, so Trader Map Pro is like showing where the heavy liquidity is and where the big fish are kind of setting their targets and stops and stuff like that, right? So we had this liquidity today at 48.35 roughly, and we got our target. They hit their target, and then we started to kind of sell off from there, right? So excuse me. After the ETH, well, after the RTH, we closed, we opened back in the ETH here, and we noticed, well, I noticed a change in the liquidity, right? So we have this big liquidity has entered the market here at approximately, let's see where this is, at approximately 47.8625, right? And there's also been this liquidity here that I didn't really notice before. That's sitting at 46.70, right? So we have liquidity sitting here at 46.70. That was all during today's trading as well. But what has really changed is these three liquidity bars that came into the book here, right? So we have liquidity here. This is the first one at approximately 48.15. Then we have one approximately 48.06. And then we have another one here at what was that again? Roughly 47.87, right? So just above 47.85, so 47.87, right? So usually, as you see, these big players, they usually get their targets. Like today, they hit their target at 48.34, 48.35. And now we have this target here at 48.15, 48.05.75, excuse me, and 47.86, 47.87. Right, so let's go over to TradingView and see what kind of setups is kind of playing out. We'll start off with the market profile. All right, so the market profile for today and tomorrow is going to be in a higher value relationship with a narrow range. Let's see here. Yesterday's range was roughly 14.25 points. Tomorrow's range is going to be approximately 9.75 points, right? So that's indicative of like a breakout. It's in a higher value relationship. We're supposed to be searching for higher value to the upside. So buys can happen here at value area high 48.1656, which is kind of lining up with the liquidity I just showed you here at let's see, roughly 48.1525, right? So that's the first target there. If we bounce off of that, and we might push higher, right? So let's see, that's the first confluence we have with like a setup to get like a retracement or a buy from value area high to seek higher levels, right? So let's see here. All right, so the POC area is around 48.11, 48.10. You could also get buys here. So anything above value area high, which is 48.06, right? Now, that's another confluence right there. Let's go back to Bookmap. 48.06. You see there's heavy liquidity there, so that's value area low. So they put supporting liquidity right there as well, right? So that's two targets, value area high, basically, and value area low, right? right? So value area high liquidity and value area low liquidity right there. Now let's go over to let's see, let's check out the pivots. Let's see what the central pivots are looking like. So it's in a higher value relationship as well. It's a little the range is a little bigger compared to yesterday. So let's see, yesterday's range was approximately 1.5 points. Excuse me. And excuse me, 1 second. Right, so tomorrow's range is going to be approximately 5.25 points, right? So let's see how we opened here. We opened above the range, which is good for the bullish thesis because we're in a higher value relationship. Central pivot range is up here, right, for tomorrow. And it's way above the central pivot from yesterday, right? So higher value relationship, we're opening above. We opened here at 48.2775, and we have not gotten a touch of the top central pivot, right? So this low here was 48.2275, and the top central pivot is 48.2250. Right, so far that's looking good for like a bullish setup. If we do touch the central pivot range, we could get like a bullish buy or a bullish run up to, let's say, from pivot range, from the central pivot to R1 at 48.43, right? So that's the first target right there, 48.43 on a buy from the central pivot range. And let's see something here, throw back on the market profile. Right, so that's lining up here with the bottom central pivot. Just pointing that out. So if we do get a retest here of the central pivot range, the bottom central pivot, and the value area high, that's a nice buy right there to R1 48.43. So from basically 48.16, 48.17 to 48.43. So that's a setup I'll be looking for tomorrow on the long side. Let's see here. Let me just put that in. So that's approximately 26 points, risking like about 4 points. So that's a 6.5 ratio, 6.5 to 1, right? So that's a good ratio right there. Right, so that's a setup right there. Let's take off the money zone. Let's take off the pivots, throw on the Camarillas. Right, so Camarilla, the Camarilla setup is in a higher value relationship. This was R3 yesterday. S3 is now slightly above it, just slightly above, like probably like one tick or something like that. So that's a higher value relationship, and we're supposed to be looking for buys from like Camarilla S4 or Camarilla S3, right? To go up to probably Camarilla R3 or R4. All right, so let's see here where these levels at. So you can see Camarilla R4 is at 43.80, and that's kind of lining up with the floor pivot. All right, so just throw that back on right there. That's a double pivot zone right there as a target for Camarilla R4 and R1, right? And also let's go back over to the Trader Map Pro. So we have Camarilla S3 at 48.1550, right? So that's lining up with this liquidity here as well, which is value area high, right? So let's go back over to Trading View. If we put back on the value area high and the pivot levels, Let me just make this bigger. So you can see at my entry level here where I would like to take a buy, we have Camarilla S3 in a higher value relationship for support. We have value area high right there. And we have the bottom central pivot, right? So this is where I'd really like to take a buy if we get support around this level. We have the first liquidity band right there on Trader Map Pro. That's at that level right there. So somebody is kind of thinking the same kind of setup, right? So that's that liquidity right there. Right, so let's see. What else? So coming back to the POC area and the value area low is lining up with Camarilla S4, and we already showed that liquidity there on Bookmap as well. So that's around 4805.25. Go back over to Trade and View. This is the value area low here at 4806.75. Camarilla S4 is at 4806.25. Right, so if we do come down, if we get heavy selling and we do come down to these levels, all of these levels here are buy levels as well, right? So let's see what that would look like on a setup. Right, so if we take a buy here, risking 4 points, and then targets would be either value area high right here at 48.16, that's 9.50 points. We could come back up to the central pivot, 12.75 points. Top central pivot, that's 15.50 points. Come back to the ETH open, that's 20.75 points. Previous week's high, yesterday's high, 48.34, 27.5 points. And if we come all the way up to R1, then that's 36 points, right? So let's just see here, conservatively, coming back to value area high, that's the setup right there. Let's see another one. Coming back to the central pivot range, risking 4 points. That's another setup right there. Let's say we come back to the ETH open, that's 20.50 points, risking 4 points. And let's see, what else? And basically coming back to yesterday's high and Camarilla R3 at 48.34, that's 27.25 points. So that's basically the setups I'm looking for, right, on the long side. Right, so it's either we stop here at value area high, we get the buy, we go up, we sell off, we come to like probably the POC area. This is also a buy area. Head back up. We either come down to this value area low, Camarilla S4, get the buy to head back up, come back up to value area high possibly, or these levels as targets. And if we really get a runner, then we come back up to R1 at this level here, 48.43. And that's basically my setups, what I'm looking for tomorrow. Now, on the flip side, on the short side of things, if we do break down, like let's say we open below Camarilla S3, I'm still going to be looking for buys at Camarilla S4 and this value area low. But anytime we start losing these levels, retest, and can't break above here, then I'm gonna start looking for some shorts to like this buying climax level, this floor pivot S1, floor pivot S2, preliminary supply, right? So that setup would look something like this. On the short side here, breakdown from Camarilla S4, value area low, risking 4 points, trying to get to S1. And another one here with a target of, let's see here, risking 4 points. And trying to get to probably S2 or this preliminary supply. So that'll be 23.75 points on the downside for this one here for the big target. This one will be 14 points here down to floor pivot S1. Yeah, that's my setups. That's my trade setups that I'm looking for tomorrow. And I'm also gonna be using these VWAP bands to see where I want to take these trades and where these VWAP bands are supporting price, right? So yeah, that's my trade setups for tomorrow using Trader Map Pro as like a guide for liquidity and stuff like that. So let's see what happens tomorrow. All right, y'all, it's Malak Shalomo. Y'all trade safe and stay blessed.